Rocks got the questions, digging so sharp, peeling back layers, hitting the heart. Drop Shoot podcast, blowing your mind every time.
So yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I saw you guys because you came to Phoenix and you opened up for Train and REO. Well, actually, REO Speedwagon didn't come, so it's just you guys got. Did you guys get an extended show on that one?
We played a little bit longer, without REO there, and we had to pay a little tribute to REO in addition, obviously.
Right. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, because so my his wife's sister is married to Pat from Train. So my brother's like, he calls me the day of and he's like, hey, do you want to go to the Train concert? And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And so I don't know if I even knew you guys were the opening act or whatever, but I'm glad we got there early because we were backstage and I started hearing the band and I was like, wow, that sounds really good. Let's go check those guys out. And then I came over and I was like, oh, you blew me away. I was like, wow, I got to have this guy on my podcast. He's awesome.
Nice. That's kind of the story of our entire summer. We're out there with these two legendary bands, and anybody who gets there early, they kind of hear some smooth sounds coming from the stage, and they're like, wait, what is that? And hopefully we won a bunch of them over like we did you. That was the idea.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, you just think like on the surface, it's like, okay, it's a band that does yacht rock songs, like, okay, whatever. But it's just something about the energy, the songs you're picking, and then the performance. You've got the costumes, it's a fun show. You're not just going through the motions, like you're actually making it like a party.
Yeah, I think that's the party aspect is a huge part of it, right? Like the vibe of yacht rock. You can't just play the songs, but the other part of yacht rock is that this music was made by elite musicians, like the best session players of the era were the guys who were in these yacht rock bands. And that's the part that we try to really pay tribute to is having that attention to detail with the musicianship and that intensity of approach. I think that comes across in kind of how you're describing it.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too, because it wasn't just the performance. I mean, the notes, everything is spot on, or if it's not spot on, you play it a little faster, a little like more rockin', but like you're not like missing the note. You know what I mean? Like if you see some of these original acts, you'll see them now. It's not going to sound as good as the way you guys do it. It's the energy. It's perfect, but in a fun, energetic kind of way. And it sounds as good as the originals, if not better, because you've kind of, does it seem like, because to me, it seems like you've kind of sped up the time a little bit.
Definitely. We play them all at what we call cocaine tempo. That is very intentional because it brings more energy to it. That's how we've been, since our origins in a dive bar basement. We've always tried to bring some of that rock and roll energy to these soft rock songs, and that kind of cognitive disconnect almost is part of what makes it really work.
Yeah. And now remind me again, because the band is like, it's a big band. It's multiple people, but you've got that one guy, I think is your bass player that does the Michael McDonald voice, and he nails it. Which is not easy to do, but he kills that Michael McDonald sound.
Yeah, that was me actually, but
is it you that does that? Okay. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind. Yeah, Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins, Daryl Hall, like all these guys are very difficult guys to sing, and you want to sing in their style without doing a caricature or a pastiche of it. You want to pay tribute without, edging into making fun, because that's not what we're about at all.
No, but so did you, like when you look, because it's interesting, like I've seen Train several times over the years, and I feel like this time was the most fun that they put into their set. I felt like every other song had some sort of gimmick, whether it was beach balls or confetti or selfies, or they always did something. Like every other song, there was some sort of gimmick. Did you kind of take some of those ideas and kind of throw it into Yacht Rock Revue? Like, hey, Train's doing this, we should do something like that.
Man, don't give away my whole 2025 tour here. We just spent 2.5 months on the road with the guys who do it the best that you can do it. What you just described, like Train makes it so fun for their fans to be at the show. And of course, all the songs and they're amazing. And of course, the musicians are amazing, but they keep the focus on the audience. which, you know, when you experience that with a band on tour, seeing them, you know, controlling the power of their audience in that way, night in and night out, like we were taking notes all summer, and we're definitely, I mean, that's always been our approach, but it's going to be escalated next year after seeing those guys do it.
Yeah. Now, how did you get hooked up with them in the first place? I know you played what is it called? The Sail Around the Sun, or Sail Across the Sun cruise with them. And so is that the first time you got connected with them?
It was on a cruise. Yeah. The first cruise that we did together was the VH1 Best Cruise Ever.
Oh,
They were the headliner, but it
okay.
wasn't like the Train cruise yet at that point. And
Oh,
we were one of the bands on it, and they came to see us on that cruise, and immediately were just like, yes, these guys. And we, of course, were like, wow, Train. And then when they got their own cruise, they invited us on it. You know, they've had us do other things with them throughout the years, and it's just a real honor that they have taken a shine to us and let us go out on tour with them.
yeah, because that's not very common for these big headlining acts to have I don't know what you call yourselves, a tribute band, a cover band, an eras band. I don't know what, but it's not very common. Usually they'd want to get somebody who's got a couple original artists with a couple hits or something, right?
Yeah, it's pretty unprecedented, but I mean, it goes back to what you spoke about earlier in that they make it fun for their fans. When they were talking about this tour, I mean, in
Mm-hmm.
describing their decision to us, they said, you know, we wanted to make this the most possible fun that our tour could be. And
Mm.
as far as an opener, when we looked at all of our other options and then looked at you guys, the choice was clear. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
in the music business, it's an edgy choice for them to make,
Yeah.
but for the audience, it's not an edgy choice at all. The audience loves it. So I think it worked out pretty well for everybody.
Yeah. Do you think that's kind of the future of some of this music? Because again, I go back to some of these original artists are out there and they're trying to play the songs and they can't play them as well as a younger band such as yourselves. And also, since you're not the original artist, you don't just have the, three or two or even sometimes one hit. You can play a variety. I think I heard you say there's 300 or 400 songs that you know, so you can just play all the hits and you guys kill it. So isn't that better than seeing the original artist who doesn't sound as good?
Yeah, I feel like we maybe kind of I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing what we did, right? Because we found this way of putting a show together and a performance together that is just like crack for people in the audience, because you know every word
Yeah.
to every song, but it can still be surprising because it's not like, you know, when you go see Hall & Oates, you know every word to every song, but you know which songs are coming.
Right.
When you see us, it could be anything. So there's that excitement or like rediscovery if we do something a little bit deep, but pretty much you know all the words. It brings back all these memories, and it's getting performed by people that are consummate professionals and consummate performers. I mean, I feel like that kind of combination of things is something that an original artist can't even compete with unless you're like Billie Eilish or Train,
Right.
you know, you know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Unless, or, I guess if you really loved, like, if you really love Kenny Loggins and you like the deep cuts or whatever, then you guys are probably not going to do like a bunch of Kenny Loggins deep cuts. But yeah, I mean, I personally love the variety. Like you said, I think it's crack for the audience. Like they're just like, I mean, like I said, I was in the back and we're at the bar and I started hearing the songs. I go, wow, that sounds really good. I kind of want to check these guys out. I'm glad I did because it was amazing. And I highly recommend anybody to see it, whether you're opening or headlining. I'd love to see you headline because how long do you play for a headlining set?
oh, that's more than 2 hours. Yeah, that's what we do. We've only ever opened this summer. We opened for Train and REO, and then last summer we did about 20 shows with Kenny Loggins opening for him. But
Did
up until that point, we had only ever headlined our own shows. That was it.
Okay. Didn't you do a couple shows with Richard Marks as well?
Oh, we did on the in that same tour we did with Kenny. Yeah.
Okay.
When we were out, Richard had us on a couple shows as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you get to see these legends up close too. Like, and then do you do like the Kenny Loggins song when you're opening for him, or do you just leave all his songs for himself?
We Definitely left them all to Kenny, but we did find a song that he wasn't playing on his tour,
Hmm.
and we came up with our own version of it. It's a song that he and Michael McDonald wrote called "I Gotta Try,"
Hmm.
and he wasn't playing that in his set, and so we were like, "Hey, would it be cool if we did this song at the final show in Santa Barbara when he was having Michael McDonald and Kevin Bacon and all these special guests out?"
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, but I want to watch you play it in sound check first. And so in Los Angeles the night before, we're like doing this version of I Gotta Try for Kenny Loggins, like auditioning to be able to open up for him playing one of the songs he wrote. And at the end of it, he was like, yep, that's awesome. You guys can do it. It was pretty cool.
That's very cool. Do you do the song? Because I don't think I saw Kenny Loggins like, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, but I don't think he did the song Playing with the Boys from Top Gun. Have you guys ever done that song?
No, but I want to. He was not doing that one really
Yeah.
on this tour, which was kind of a bummer. I love that song.
I don't even think he did Danger Zone, which I was like, how do you not play Danger Zone? I don't think he did it when I saw him, which was crazy.
He definitely did it on his final tour. Definitely did it on the tour with
Was
him.
that his final tour?
It was, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he still is going to do shows here and there,
Yeah.
but he's not doing a full-on tour again.
Yeah,
He's 75.
sure. Do you guys have to pay some sort of royalty when you perform covers? I don't know how that works.
The venues pay the royalties. So if
Oh.
you stream one of our songs on Spotify, for
Yeah.
example, like one of our cover songs, then that just automatically gets taken out. The songwriter percentage gets taken out by Spotify. When we play live, each of these venues has to pay the Performing Arts Societies a fee that cover all the songs that are played in their venue.
Hmm.
Because Train does covers too, right? Or like lots of bands do covers, and it's the responsibility of the venue to pay for that.
So do they don't pass that along and bill you? Do you think they just pay a flat rate for the year or something? Or
They pay a flat rate for
Oh.
the year, and I mean, like when Train plays a Train song, Pat gets money from that through the Songwriting Society. That
Really?
he paid, yeah, definitely,
Huh.
100%.
Interesting. Okay, so then let's talk about. So you guys have this new album out, which is really cool. So you did originals that sound similar to Yacht Rock. This is a double album, and just came out. It's called Escape Artist, and it's awesome. Like these songs sound like those. They fit right into your set. How many originals do you do? I think you did at least one when you opened for Train.
Yeah, when we are playing shows, we generally just do one or two originals because we know what people came for. We're just hoping that we can slide in some of our music and make some new memories with them, And I think on some of the songs it works. Like this summer, the song that we were playing for the most part, it was called Tropical Illusion, and we wrote it with the guy that wrote Brandy, You're a Fine Girl.
Hmm.
And so it's like a legit yacht rock song. And the whole audience gets to play in the shakers with me, and it's pretty fun. It works.
Yeah, okay. That's yeah, because when I listened to the album, I recognized that song, and it's probably because I heard it over the summer. That one was really good. I like the what is it called? Junipero? Every night like
Yeah.
tonight. That's really
Yeah.
catchy.
Thanks. Yeah, that one's fun. That's like the kind of disco number on the album. We had fun with that one.
Yeah, and then like the song, I love that how you have a song called Bad Decisions, and then the next song is called Worst Decisions.
It's the jam after the Bad Decisions. We were in the studio and the song was over, and we kind of got into this little instrumental jam afterwards, and everybody just kind of contributed. And we knew Bad Decisions was going to be one of the singles, so we didn't want to include it in the song. We were like, we'll just make it, just chop it right there and call it Worst Decisions.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the lyric. I'm making bad decisions, but they don't really affect me. Making bad decisions, waiting for you to correct me. I'm like, oh, I love that. What inspired that lyric?
Well, I was thinking about like the idea of behaving badly to get attention, because it's something that I do. It's something my kids do. It was something that at the time a person very close to me was doing a lot. And that can like be for a variety of reasons and come from a variety of different places. It can be entitlement. It can be obliviousness. There are all sorts of different ways that behavior can show itself. And that's kind of what the song is about. And kind of just giving everybody, when you're honest about it and saying, yeah, I make bad decisions, like it kind of gives everybody license to not be so hard on themselves about it, At least that's
Yeah.
my take on it.
Would you play those ones live occasionally? Like, are you going to mix up the originals? Is it always just going to be, like you said, you did Tropical Illusion, you'll probably just do the same original song every time?
We'll probably mix it up some in 2025, bring some
Yeah.
different flavors to the table. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And then I think, I don't know if there was multiple covers, but I know Steal Away is a cover, and that's a very different version. You've got one of the female vocalists in your group doing that, and I think is it a ukulele? It's really cool.
Yeah, it's just me on ukulele and Courtney singing, and then I had our keyboard player Ben Kuya was using his synthesizer and creating like the synthesizer waves in the background. I don't know if you might not be able to tell, but we were trying to make it sound like it's just Courtney and I out on a beach.
Oh, I'll have to listen closer. Yeah, I didn't notice those, but there is some fun sound effects throughout the album. I feel like that it's like synthesizers and like you can tell. I mean, it does have a very cool yacht rock vibe. I don't know how else to describe it. It's very, very like the fun, like even the Bad Decisions. It's got that kind of like fun bass line and stuff. Like it just fun jams. Like 4 in is kind of a jam song, and it's just got a fun kind of easy party vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we were having a really fun time making it because we had this studio and we had all of our synthesizers set up like in a giant circle. And we use when you're touring, you use modern synthesizers because they don't break. But in the studio, we were using like the legit old like Prophet and Moog synthesizers that they used on these yacht rock albums. And I think the kind of synthesizer fun you're hearing is because we were actually having so much fun playing with these old instruments.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did you write the songs? Did you write them all separate or did you write them as a band together or?
Variety of different processes. Some of them, like Bad Decisions, I wrote all myself and brought in and said, here's how the song goes. But San Junipero, the other one that we talked about, Monkey Boy, our guitar player, had one section, and then I came up with another section, and then Knackers, our drummer, said, oh, I've got the verse to that. And so, it was a very collaborative process. We didn't go in with like a preconceived notion of like, this is what the album's going to be. We were kind of just letting the creativity show itself in the process. And it was really fun.
That's so cool. Yeah. So it was recorded at this studio and it was produced by, was it one of Zach Brown band, a member from that band, right?
Yes, we made it at our friend John Hopkins' studio. And he's the low guy on Like Tonight on San Junipero. He's the guy doing that vocal.
Okay.
But actually I produced the album.
But it's his studio, right? Or
yeah. We had done some studio work for him. We actually played on and produced an entire Christmas album for him. And as a trade, he said, well, you guys can just use my studio to make your next album. And I said, okay, sounds great.
Nice. So what does he do with Zach Brown? Is he the drummer, guitarist, or?
He was the bass player for a while, but now he's kind of like multi-instrumentalist and backing vocals. He plays a lot of guitar and sings a lot.
That's cool. So I don't know. I want to talk about your guitarist, Mark, but before we get to him, I don't know, what is your background before this band? You must have come from something else, right? What did you do before this?
Peter, the other singer, and I had an indie rock band called YOU here in Atlanta that was like not very successful. I mean, we got a song in a Coke commercial and did some touring, but never really like made it, we kind of whatever, we're struggling along. And this club gave us every Thursday night to do anything we want. And I was in law school because I was like, I'm not going to make it as a musician. I'm just going to go to law school. And, everybody was kind of splintering off to do different things. And then we were doing these Thursday nights at this club, and one of the shows was Yacht Rock, and it blew up. And next thing you know, we're quitting school and quitting jobs and buying vans and becoming a Yacht Rock band. It was not on purpose.
Wow, that's crazy. It kind of reminds me of Steel Panther because it's kind of a similar path. Like those guys were in other bands, it didn't work out. So then they just did this like kind of tribute cover band of 80s rock for fun. And I think they played, I think it was the Key Club back then or whatever it was. And they had like a residency kind of in LA. And then it just got this like huge following. And now, I mean, they're touring, they're opening up for Judas Priest and all sorts of big bands. And it's kind of a similar path. Do you think of yourselves as that a kind of a version of that?
Funny you should mention it. I love Steel Panther.
Me too.
I saw them back in the day when they had that Key Club residency, because when we started out and we started to see, right around the time I was quitting school, we are like, okay, this is what we're doing now. So we need to see who's doing it the best. And Steel Panther was definitely doing it the best. So we went out, saw them, took notes. I mean, those guys are incredible. Huge fan.
Yeah, I just love because I've seen them, I don't even know, like maybe 20 or 30 times. I've dragged my girlfriend, I've dragged my friends. Like I just like, you got to see the show. It's so fun. And I think what's so cool about them is like every time you see them, it's different. Like it's never usually the same set list. And it used to be more covers and now it's like a lot more originals, but the banter in between is always different, which I always wondered, do they rehearse that at all? Or is it just completely made up? Cause it's always different. And they always come up with original stuff.
Man, they've come up with good characters. And when you have a good character and know how to play it, then the improvising gets a lot easier.
Is that something you thought of doing like characters and doing banter in between?
At our headlining shows, there's a lot more banter. When you saw us opening for Train, we were on a strict 45-minute set list, like no time for messing around. So yeah, usually we're making jokes and hanging out. It's a lot more loose, but when you have 45 minutes to make an impression, you can't spend 5 of it improvising about the lady in the third row,
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Definitely have to check you out on the headlining set because I think you're coming to Phoenix and playing the Van Buren on St. Patrick's Day, which is the day after my birthday. So I might try to make that. That could be, and I think you're playing Vegas like the next day. So I'm like, either one of those could be epic shows.
The Van Buren is awesome. I love that place.
Yeah.
So much fun playing there. It's really quite cool.
That is a cool venue. Yeah. So it's funny, like when you played with Train in Phoenix, was that the last show of the tour? Because I'm told that the last show of the tour, there's always some sort of prank or something. And I think you guys dressed up as like Halloween. I think somebody dressed up as a banana or something. You came out and kind of crashed one of Train's songs, right?
We did. That was we were excited about that. We had Monkey Boy, our guitar player, had the idea that they have these giant suitcases on stage. And so we need to come out dressed as things that are in a suitcase. And so, I mean, I don't think zero people got what we were doing.
Oh,
right. I mean,
because it was like a giant toothpaste or something. And
it was a toothpaste and a toothbrush. And there were a pair of flip flops.
Oh.
I was a loofah. Like we were all like different things that you might pack in your suitcase.
I didn't get that, but now that you say it, that's actually brilliant. It's like too smart for me.
And the Train guys were all like, "What is this? What are you even doing?" Like it had to be explained to them afterwards too. They just were like, "You guys are weird."
No, but it makes sense now that you say that thing. Because I was like, "Why is it a toothpaste?" I don't understand. That makes sense. It would be something in the giant suitcase, which that would actually be really smart, but too smart for me. Okay.
What we found out later, though, is that, REO wasn't on that show, but Kevin Cronin had planned to do a tour prank on us where he asked us to play Roll with the Changes. And so we're like, all right, man, if you want us to. And we start playing it. And he was going to come out in his bathrobe and like be like, no, you guys got to stop. What is this? His road manager told us he had this planned. And then, he ended up getting sick and not being able to do it. It was such a drag. That would have been so awesome.
Yeah. It sucks because I didn't get to see REO at all, but that was cool that you guys got a longer set because I was loving your set. I was having a great time singing along, having a good time. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks. It was fun for us too. That was an incredible tour.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. So going back to, I wanted to ask about your guitarist, Mark. I mean, just to explain to the audience, like the level of musicians that are in this band. I mean, this is a guy who's played with Butch Walker, who I love. And if people don't know who he is, you got to Google him because he's played with everybody. He was on a Skid Row record, which is one of my favorite bands of all time, and actually filled in for Snake during a brief hiatus. And he had, I read that he had invitations to audition for Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Yeah, all true. I mean, he's that kind of player. He's from, he's a Berkeley guy, total music nerd. And his original like lane of choice was heavy metal. But you'd be surprised how many uh dovetails there are between yacht rock and heavy metal. Like heavy metal dudes always love yacht rock because of the musicianship and precision that is required to play it, and that's why Monkey Boy fits our band so well. He'll put a little like heavy metal pinch harmonic in the solo. Like he'll put some little metal elements in just to show him off. But man, he's a great player. He's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see a longer set because. So you said 300 or 400 songs, and you'll just mix it up. Do you choose the set list ahead of time, or is it just like whatever you feel like? You just say, "Hey, let's play this song," and then everybody knows it.
No, it's not really. I mean, every now and then we'll call an audible like that, but these days we usually get like 50 or 60 songs ready for a tour, and like so there will be songs that we'll play this summer that we weren't playing at all last summer, and the same, holds true every year. But we'll kind of have a few like at the forefront of the brain and be trading those out each year. That's something I learned from being out with Train and REO is that the consistency, like there are some songs we do play every night, and the consistency of that and the way you're able to deliver the performance when you're doing it that way, you can just give people what they want in a lot more pure form when you're having some consistency as opposed to just winging it every night.
What's the most like obscure song that you guys do that it's a cover, but you guys it maybe wasn't a huge hit, but you guys love it?
Oh man, let me think about that. Maybe Answering Machine by Rupert Holmes or Key Largo by can't even think of his name now. Key Largo. We had it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We don't do a lot of super deep ones. That thing about yacht rock is like there are so many hits, so many songs that people know. Like we can keep in the top 40 and still have hundreds of songs to choose from.
Oh yeah, for sure. So what you guys played with Eddie Money before he passed? What was he like? Because I've kind of heard that he's kind of a character, like he's a funny guy, or he was. Rest in peace.
Dude, he was. I love you, Eddie. He was amazing. I'm looking in my studio. I have a record that he signed for me up on the wall. Like Eddie was an amazing dude, like the kindest, funniest guy. And he's one of these guys where like when you meet him, he's just like the guy you see on TV. He is that guy. It's not an act. He is that guy. And he calls me up. He's like, I never talked to him before. He calls me up on my phone. He's like, Nicky, baby, hey, how you doing? It's Eddie. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this set, and here's how we're going to do it. I'm thinking we go in, with 2 tickets. We hit him hard with 2 tickets, right? Like he just goes at you like that with that kind of energy. Like he showed up to the first rehearsal he ever did with us, and he comes flying through the back curtain. He's like, hey, does anybody have a Tums? Like he's that guy. He was amazing.
Was he? Because I interview a lot of musicians and like rock stars and stuff, and I feel like they all go through this thing where they're young and they party and they go crazy and they do a bunch of drugs and alcohol, and then they sober up, and then they're dead sober. But wasn't he still drinking like up until his death? Or like he was? I don't know if he was like doing drugs, but he was still drinking, right?
I think he was sober.
Oh,
I never saw him drink.
okay.
I think he had to get sober to.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong on that.
Maybe he was just his personality was just like he was just like you said, he was like the party guy. Some people are like that without drugs and alcohol. Like they don't need it. That's just their personality.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely still the party guy, but I never saw him take a drink. My friend Jeff Carlisi, who played with 38 Special, toured with Eddie Money, and he had some great Eddie Money stories of when he was drinking and doing all the drugs. But he was still a party guy and just a really nice guy, but just wild.
Really? Like what did he do? Anything can you say?
Oh, I'm probably going to get the story wrong, but they were supposed to go out at one time and they showed up to Eddie's room and he had like taken the sheets and covered all the windows and like darked this entire suite out, and it was like this little drug den, and he invited them in, and I can't remember where the story went from there, but like just, you know, had been up all night from the night before, like all the classic rock and roll kind of vibe.
Oh yeah, there's so many of those stories around. It's crazy. Well, awesome. So the new album is out now. Again, it's called Escape Artist, and I listen on Spotify. Is there a hard copy that some people like the vinyl or the CD? Can they get that?
Oh yeah, we got the vinyl. We've got the double album vinyl. It opens up, and it's pretty beautiful, I gotta say.
Yeah, and people can follow you on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Your website, I'll put it in the show notes, and then people just click it, check for tour dates. Definitely highly recommend seeing your show. It's a blast. It's really fun. You don't have to worry about, oh, like, you know, like I said, some of these original artists, it's not going to sound the same. They, like you said, Cocaine Speed or whatever, they're rocking versions of these songs. It's a lot of fun.
We have a great time doing it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much I appreciate you doing the show. And like I said, I'll try to catch you in March sometime.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Every topic, one of a kind. From the rockers to the wise men.